Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad. What's going on? I
That was
actually
great.
did out some of the other parts of the technical difficulties.
Oh my gosh, that was like perfect.
For those of you that are wondering why I'm having a fit, I tried to start the live 3-4 times, and it just said like error. Try again. So then I'm panicking, thinking we went live 4 different times, and it's just not working. Like there's a whole. I just panicked.
Right. Yeah.
Then Tim finally got it, and then our background was deleted somehow. I'm just. Joni said maybe Mercury is in retrograde. I feel like there's. I need to know what that means. Is probably the better because I love actually like joking about that stuff, but then I'm like, I'm gonna say something wrong, and then I'll.
I always say Mercury's in Gatorade.
Yes, that's the phrase.
He's paying attention.
Yes,
yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't
Or
be smart,
like,
be funny.
We need it like Mercutio is in Gatorade. Do you know what I mean? Just
it's good to see you. It is not morning for me.
Yeah, where are you?
Check this out. That is Warsaw, Poland, right there. It is so cool.
Poland? Someone asked what time is it in Poland?
It is 5:06 p.m.
Oh, 5:06. I thought it was later. That makes me feel better. I thought we were really.
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. It's like it's 5:06, and I just had the best day. It was so fun. So I'm here with Samir Vazdev from Dev Design, who is just a blast to work with. And I'm basically playing caddy to him, who's doing all of the work, and I'm like doing one session, which has been great. I know, it's been great. So I vibe coded an app for him to do some of the work with, and then we realized that there are a couple people that we thought might be ahead of the curve. So I grabbed those guys, and I just put a post out about how we created a solution for someone that is just taking up so much time and resources for their organization. And I'm really excited about that. That's the kind of stuff that never happened in 10 years of consulting before. And so, yeah, it's been great. It's really fun here. So,
if I could, I especially love like the cross-pollination of like the people, right? Like, I know I've never met Samir, but like, there's this theory or this like idea that because we are all in a service delivery industry supporting the same industry, that like we can't and won't work together. And I think we continue to prove over and over again that the more we do work together, the better our industry and those we serve become. And like, what a great example of that with what you and Samir are doing right now. Like, how fun.
Yep. I mean, there's a whole episode we need to do on the future of tech is going to be around culture, not technology, and is going to be put out, like, is going to fail or not based on professional services, not AI, right? Like that is what I see over and over again. And so, yeah, I agree. Also, over and over again, the other trend I see is that people learn AI from other people learning AI, not like, so that is what happened today, is that one person wanted to learn Claude Code, another person had an OCR, receipt reading issue. And so we paired them up, and he learned how to do what he was doing in order to solve the receipt issue, which has been a massive issue for them. And so just really exciting. Just over and over, the same trend keeps happening, just like we see up at the Upskillerator and here. And yeah, it's great.
And what a great segue. Before we get into what we're going to talk about today, I do want to remind everybody we've got some new joiners. I'm Sami Zoss. This is Tim Lockie. We are with the Human Stack, an organization making tech more human, if you want sort of the short and sweet version of what we do. Every week we join each other, no matter where we are. Usually it's the like guess where Sami is game. So it's really fun that Tim's somewhere else this time.
I know, right? So cool.
So we hang out every week, and right now we've spent 30 episodes. Today's episode 30. Let's go.
My gosh.
This is
I would say that sound was a little underwhelming. Like, That may not have been the bang you were hoping for right there.
I agree. But today is episode 30, and we've spent about 30 episodes talking through different use cases and how to explore AI in Gemini in particular under the umbrella of enabling it across your organization. So
right.
If you're new here, we're so happy to have you. You can catch all of the previous episodes. They're great to like listen into in the background if you're trying to catch up on our YouTube channel, on the Human Stacks YouTube channel. We've got them all in a playlist in order there. But to celebrate today, we were going to do a pun episode. So for those of you that are like joining from last week and you're like, where are my puns at? I wanted to do it where I knew Tim's tech was working because it's way more fun if it's like Tim and I sniping at each other. And if I'm just trying to generate puns with like my fake responses here, I'm going to need an audience laugh one now.
It's true. And we just don't want people to think that this is some kind of weird Ponzi scheme, right? That's not what's happening here.
I hate it already. But like, how can we let the audience miss out on that just in case?
So I know, yes. Okay, so next week we're doing that.
Yes, we are going to do our pun episode next week. This week, we took a little different spin.
We had to punt.
We did punt. I hate it so much. Like, I love puns. The dad joke puns, like the dads doing good dad joke puns, just grind.
Yeah, just like it's just gonna kill it. Okay, I'm gonna say what we're doing this week because I get a brag up on what you're doing.
Not the other way around, you bum.
Wait, what?
I would like you to say it. You go.
Okay. Yeah, no. Okay, everybody, check this out. Last week, Sami was doing a competition, and we're going to find out what the competition is because we're going to have her do the competition she was in. She's going to do her entry because she won that competition, and it was like an AI hackathon. Like, that's the best way. Look at that. Look at that award. Right.
Oh,
that's
cool,
awesome.
right?
That is so cool. Yeah, it's kind of far away. Can you put it up closer so we can see it?
Well, anyway, yes, but it's hard.
What does it say? Yeah,
it says AI Edge Summit Sioux Falls winner.
Okay, so when I found out that you won, I was so excited. And you created a board of directors. You've been talking about this, gosh, I think for 9 months. You keep talking about my board of directors, this, and all of that. I want to just say how helpful it is to have design constraints, because when you had to boil it down to 6 minutes, you created a really concise version. So you're going to do that again, but give us a setting. What was the event? What was it that you won? And then, introduce the board of directors idea.
Yeah. So every year in Sioux Falls for the 3rd year now, and there will be a 4th, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is where I'm from, where I'm housed, where I'm based. My friends Andy Jorgensen and Dan Klosterman, they host the AI Edge Summit. And if I could just say, it's so cool. This thing started as like 150 people 3 years ago, sort of like maybe AI will be this thing, and talk about like being the one to like canary in a coal mine this, because there was almost 500 people in the room last week.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Insane. And so
for South Dakota, that was a lot of people for South Dakota.
We had a girl from Belgium fly in just to present at this competition. I mean,
oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Her name's Ine. And honestly, I would love to bring her on sometime and have her show what she created, because it's sort of like an actual virtual assistant. Not in the same way that like Nancy is with our team, but more like sort of all of the monotonous things that we do day to day. She sort of calls it like her copy paste. And so we joked about like our products coming together and having a baby and like taking over the world. But Mike Shop is the competition, and this is my 2nd year participating in it. And what it is there's 6 people chosen to present within 6 minutes an AI use case. And last year, actually, I presented NotebookLM. And so I was the only one that didn't like build something for this competition, but I was like, I don't know how to build anything. And the people in this room need to know how to use AI as it stands. And what's funny is that was sort of like the kicker for what inevitably became Let's Explore Gemini and AI4AnyoneLIVE, right? So this competition actually is a lot more root in AI4AnyoneLIVE than we might think. And so
interesting. That's so cool.
Yeah, I guess I never really told you that. Like, that's where that idea sort of started from. But I've been working on this idea of like a board of directors almost in the same way that like a Fortune 500 company has a board of directors, right? So not necessarily in the nonprofit space, but in a way that's like, how do I, as someone who's working by myself, like, how do I keep myself accountable so I'm not bothering Tim all of the time when I need like advisement, or if, you know, I ran a candle company at one point, and so I'm like, how do I like have a board that I can submit my financials to and they ask me the questions I'm supposed to be asked as a person trying to sell candles for profit, right? Like pure chaos is kind of how it started. And I, like you said, it's been a year and a half that I've been trying to build this in a way that like, and explain it to people. I've had it built for a while. So I decided I was going to use my 6 minutes to pitch my board of directors. So it's like, I know I'm onto something here and I know it's so versatile.
Okay, so what
what
we're
I'm
going to do.
Yes. Yep. We're about to say the same thing. Go, go, go.
Right.
You go.
So I'm gonna introduce you and announce it. That's usually your role, but that's mine this week. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're going to hit the clock and do a 6-minute timer so that you've got the same 6 minutes and you're going to present your board of directors just like you did at the competition. Right. So is there any other introduction needed?
Nope.
Okay. All right. I wish I had like a thing, but I don't. So there you go. Okay, great. All right. All
Are
right.
you gonna time?
I will time. Hold on. Let me. I don't
I
know.
can
Is
look at
there a
the
way to
time on
do
the
a
screen.
timer on
There's a
here?
time.
No, I'll open.
I mean, you can do the. Let me see about.
No, I'm good.
Really,
I've got it. I'm going to put it on my phone. I'm just watching my phone. It's right here. So give me just 1 second to open the timer.
Yeah, because they don't let you put a timer on like a screen that
right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Good.
restream, ridiculous.
What is there a countdown?
No.
Okay.
But like, as
All
if
right,
they
cool.
don't have enough features. They're good.
Right. Yep. Okay. 6 minutes, 0 seconds. And you ready to go?
Yeah. 1 second. Let me share it. I'll tell you when to go.
Oh, okay, great. All right.
So I need to make sure my notes are up as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. And I'm going to take myself off because this is you, like you're presenting. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to do that.
How do I view my notes? Oh, there we go. I was like,
Well,
where's my
yeah.
notes?
Oh, here I am. Okay. All right. So tell me when, and I will start this timer. I just lost it again. Every time I do that, it goes back to 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So, okay,
it doesn't
good.
like us. I realized I wasn't gonna be able to see my notes if I presented. That's where I started panicking. For what it's worth, that's why.
I see. Okay, yeah, yeah.
But I do
You
have
got it?
those up now as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you're ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Starting now.
Okay. All right. So I want you guys to all think like before I begin. I can't make you raise your hands, right? Because we're we're virtual here. But I want you to consider if you've ever had to play more than one role at your job. I know this is for sort of entrepreneurs, but I know everyone watching right now in nonprofit has felt the same. Every job starts to feel like your job. You're the strategist, the operator, the marketer, the intern. I mean, that's all before lunch, right? And context, like that constant context switching just tanks your decision making. And as much as I'd love to say, like, I can run on pure intuition, I like to call myself a vibey girl. It's just not sustainable. And so one night at our local startup, Sioux Falls, our startup organization around here at about like 8 p.m., about a year and a half ago, I decided I was going to do something about it. So sorry. As business professionals, we don't just run out of time. A lot of times we run out of perspective. Tim says stuff like this all of the time, right? Like it's not just a resource problem, it's a perspective problem. It's not just a tech problem, it's a human problem. And so every choice becomes a debate with yourself. When you do finally reach out to friends or mentors, half your energy goes into giving them context to understand the question. And you start to really miss that like friction, the accountability, the honest feedback that helps you level up, right? Because you're spending so much energy just getting them caught up. And that's kind of when I was like, you know what? I don't need more people. I've got great people. I need better mirrors. I need someone to understand the context that I have and just bump it up for me and hyper focus it. And so from there, I decided, like, I'll build my own, right? A criminal justice major from small town Beersford, South Dakota. Like, what could go wrong? And I decided I was going to build my own board of directors using AI-powered personas, each one designed to fill a gap in how I think, how I lead, and how I show up in my business. But I want to be very clear, these are not chatbots. These are trained, consistent advisors built from frameworks, not fantasy. I could literally hand you the white paper that each of these have produced, like each of these individuals have produced in their own line of work, right? Like they are truly curated experts in their areas. And a bonus, like it's a board that never sleeps, doesn't sugarcoat, and knows my blind spots better than I do. Let me introduce you to two of them, right? So right here, we've got Yamini Patel. She is my focus and execution strategist. She's the one that turns chaos into clarity, literally the reason why that sort of tagline exists in my life. But next to her, you've got David Reynolds. He's my accountability partner and revenue guy. He grew up right here in Sioux Falls. His parents were in a small accounting firm before he went off to Wharton and came back home to run said accounting firm. He's my voice of reason, the one that always says, you know, cool idea, but can we afford it? Cool idea, but will it turn into more? And here's the twist, right? Like neither of these are real people. They don't exist in the physical world. They're AI-powered advisors I designed from scratch, trained on what I trust, not what I know. They reflect the data ethics and perspectives I want baked into my decisions. I have 9 advisors total, but they live inside 4 core simulations that mirror business rhythms. So I've got a couple different daily check-ins that keep me grounded, what went right, what went wrong. Yamini loves to tell me that my 300 unread emails are 300 missed opportunities, etc. Our weekly meetings are about priorities, what's working, what's blocking. Monthly, we try to do a strategy sessions, looking at the numbers and what we're prioritizing in the coming month. And then the really like big one, the one that formed all of this together was the quarterly board meetings. I mean, they expect financials, debates, tough calls. These meetings are fully simulated conversations where they talk to each other as much as they talk to me. So when Yamini says you need 2 more hours for creative work, David fires back, that's 2 hours not earning revenue. And I get to watch them hash it out until one of them wins. Very ridiculous and wildly effective. I feel like I'm watching myself in therapy. It isn't about like outsourcing your thinking. It's about amplifying your reflection and your impact. My virtual board doesn't just help me run my day-to-day business operations. It actually challenges me, right? They show me where I'm drifting, where I'm blind, and yes, sometimes where I'm even brilliant. When I'm drafting a client contract, you know, Christina would weigh in on legal risk, and David checks the financial forecast, and Malik ensures it aligns with community values. It's like having 9 hyper-focused versions of myself around the table. And again, AI is not replacing my gut and my leadership. It's just giving it a quorum. So far, I've built 9 total advisors, and the same 9, fun fact, these are the same 9 that I started with a year ago. So what's awesome about this is really like my vision there has lasted. So you can see I've got Amara, she's in creative strategy. Yamini, we've talked about, she's my strategic operations and focus. Sophia Lee, as someone who has ADHD, I wanted someone grounded in that and really helping me. Phil, you'll love this. Phil is my philanthropy expert. We love a good pun. You know, imagine a small business owner running quarterly reviews without hiring a full-time COO. Imagine a nonprofit director using this to build donor personas or for their own governance advice. This isn't just like a gimmick. It's a scalable structure for clarity and accountability, no matter which industry you're in. Here's a little snippet from a real daily check-in, a text-based simulation where my board reviews the day. You can see each advisor reacting to the others in real time, building on the conversation just like a real meeting. No burnout, no politics, thank goodness, just clarity, insight, and accountability on demand. So when I say you don't need a bigger team, you just need better mirrors, this is what I meant. Find where you want more emphasis and accountability and amplify it through your own virtual board of directors. Give your strengths, values, and gaps a quorum and see how this kind of AI can change your business. And that, my friends, was my presentation. I'll have you know, this is the first time Tim's seen this presentation. So
it was amazing, and you hit time perfectly.
Let's go.
No, like absolutely perfectly. So I have so many questions, but they are all behind one major statement here, which is, Sami, that was absolutely incredible. You've talked about this so many times. I've never really understood it.
I told
And I thought,
you.
no, absolutely. You did every time. I mean, I knew I didn't understand it. I was like,
No, I meant,
what
I
is
told you it was
that?
hard. I wasn't getting it across. You're absolutely right. Give
Absolutely.
me a
Yeah.
boundary,
Yeah.
give me limits, and I'm gonna do better. And I just never thought that would be the case.
Yeah.
But I am
Constraint
excited.
thinking.
I want to hear your questions. I'm also excited to show you how I use some of the tools that we've taught in this podcast to actually help me prep for that, because I've been trying for a year and a half to explain this to people and I've failed. So 6 minutes, that's not easy to do. So I'm glad it finally landed though. Let's go.
Yes. Okay. So first, I want to say to our listeners out there, who's got questions, throw them in. I've got a few, but I'm sure others have them as well. So questions, if you've got them, just chat them in, and we'll answer them as they come in. Okay. I'll start, I guess, with my first question. Well, no, my first statement is congratulations. I can see how this won. This is such a unique application, and one line that you said is, I think, the difference between other people's attempts at this, because a lot of people have tried this, right?
Yeah.
Other people's attempts at this and what you've succeeded at, I think, lives in this idea that they live in simulations.
Yes.
So you didn't just create, here are some agents, now I want you to talk to each other. You created simulations in which they would interact. That's a very unique approach on that. I'm guessing that's why it works so well. But how do you form those? What do those simulations look like? Like, what was the process on that?
Yeah, so it started as like just a custom GPT, right? And I still have those original instructions where it was like, so they sort of talked, but it was more, and there are some parts of where I run this simulation that it says Yamini says this, and then Sophia says this, and then David says this, and then I'm supposed to respond, right? Like it's not as,
Right.
that text that you saw is definitely like the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
And so there's that piece. But it started as just like a GPT, very much like you think, right? How can I have someone just gut check me? And I still use that GPT sometimes, right? So like, great example, you're running the human stack, you're running a business, and you have legal representation. And I want to be very clear, these should not replace professional services that you do employ in your business. These are meant to be sounding boards and mirrors. That's why I use the language that I do. And it allows you to vet things before you go to said professional services. Legal is a great example.
Draft, right? Like,
Yes.
going to, like, legal services are very expensive per hour. You want to have questions lined up. That's a really hard thing for me to do because I don't know until I'm in the situation what my questions are going to be. If there's a way to get a heads up on, that's great, right? So,
well, and
absolutely.
Like, Christina, great example. Christina's my legal, and she often will tell me, like, here's some of my concerns for risk. I think we need to flag this. But if it's just a contract that is off the template that I built with legal, that's okay then to be like, hey, Christina, any additional risk outside of our usual that's already been covered in this template?
Yep.
The answer is yes or no. And then I take that from there. It tells me if I should maybe bring it to legal or not. If it's like a, more detail, that sort of thing. And so it originally started just as some of that piece, right? And then I started to realize, and this is where I feel like it really relates to what we do in nonprofit. And I know we've got some in the comments here that are asking a few questions, but I want to be clear that while this presentation was geared toward entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and the for-profit industry, that's because that's the summit, right? Like that was that competition. I wanted to give the presentation the exact same way that I gave it, because that makes it a little more authentic. And I wanted to see if I could hit the 6 minutes, because fun fact, I did not. I did not get through the whole thing in live because I ad-libbed. So that was my fault.
Can't off-road. Yep. Okay.
But what I discovered when I was trying to migrate from GPT to like actual simulation, and that was where I started to learn vibe coding, right? This was actually also my foray into vibe coding and like, what does an app look like? Like I still have, maybe I'll put some screenshots or I'll make a blog post or something from the human stack on this with like screenshots of the app that I still use sometimes. And it is the oldest looking, like built in the 90s when you were like manually coding websites kind of app. It's awesome. And I'm like, it's only me using it. It's not a product that I necessarily have like productized. And so I'm like, I love the like chaos of how I built it.
What is the architecture? Like when you're doing that chat, what tool is that in?
It's just a Python. I have no idea.
Okay. Is that like
That's a
from
great question.
Replit? Is it
No,
from?
it's like an app on my computer.
Okay. Awesome.
It would have been smarter to put it as a web app, but
No, it's fine.
because
It's
it was
cool.
my first foray into vibe coding, I haven't adjusted it since because I haven't needed to, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I've got different areas that I can run this. So I've then migrated it to NotebookLM, and actually I have a profile for every director. So David is the easiest one to talk through, right? Like, David is from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. His parents own a small accounting firm here, all their life. It's a family-owned accounting firm. He went to Wharton, a really well-known, prestigious business institution. But he now has come back and plans to continue on in that accounting service, continue the family legacy on, continue to grow his roots in South Dakota, in Sioux Falls in particular. That was really important to me for a few reasons. I'm going to get into that here in just a second. But with that also came sort of like, I wanted each of them to have a framework. And this was actually before Dan Kershaw taught me the magic of deep research. And so think like deep research before deep research, where I spent hours trying to create essentially fake like IP for these fake people. But then you'll start to see Sophia, my ADHD coach, she's got something called the clarity framework. And it helps, like, every time she's trying to walk through something with me, she goes through and she says, okay, but if we look at our clarity framework here, like, where are we dropping the ball, or where are we not fitting our own sort of like mental approach? And so it was important to me not only to have a backstory, but sort of like have a guiding framework for their initial approach to their specific topic.
Right.
And so I have a profile and I have a framework for each of them. And then I have the simulation sort of just written out in code right now. It started as just like narrative, and then I've used AI to help turn that into different code depending on if I want to run it in just like a chat versus in like the app that I've got on my computer.
Okay, pause for a second there. Because when you say simulation, what's the not architecture of the app, but what does a simulation include? So, like, it's Tuesday night, we're meeting for our quarterly meeting. Is that what you mean by simulation? Or is it like what is the simulation?
Great question. So best way to think about it is in terms of time and approach. So daily check-ins, I have two different versions. I've got a 30-minute where it's a more formal. The instructions essentially state we pick 2 or 3 board members based on my wins of yesterday and my plans for today. So that's how the conversation starts. And then they pick like 2 or 3 board members to essentially be part of the conversation. They act more like advisors than board members there. And they say, all right, most of the time, Sophia's almost always in it. Yamini is almost always in it. And then it's someone else trying to say like, hey, okay, so yesterday you didn't do all the things you wanted to do. Is that because you had unrealistic expectations, or because you got distracted because you realized that you could also like clean out your fridge, right? Which is like such an ADHD thing. And so we talk through those, right? So that's like a daily. I also have a daily where they do a quick scan of my email and they say my email and my calendar, because I early on figured out how to hook it up and authenticate it into my Gmail. That was the coolest thing ever. I need to figure out how I did it, because that's one of the other reasons I haven't.
That is not easy.
It's one of the other reasons I haven't moved the app, because I don't know how I did it, because I did it so early on in the vibe coding world.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, wait, before you do more on that.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to ask, like, don't take this the wrong way, but if I were presenting, I would make it sound like I did this every day and I'm checking in quarterly. Actually, like, real to God, actual times per week, or how many quarters have you done the process with them?
Yeah, quarterly. I've never done a full quarterly, full disclosure. Okay. And that was why I built it. Quarterly is a 2-hour meeting. They expect me to show up with, like, it is meant to be like, because I built from an entrepreneurial perspective, right?
Yeah.
But Tim, think about your perspective.
Oh, you don't have a board of directors. I would not sit through a 2-hour chat at me meeting. Like, that would be brutal.
But think about the chat meeting. That's where, like, I'm not going to sit there and do 2 hours of texting, and that's why it fails, right? But
Yeah.
if I could figure out a way to make that feel more authentic without also feeling weirdly like sci-fi, it would be
Yeah.
really helpful for me or for you at the human stack who doesn't have a board of advisors, a board of directors to be like, okay, Tim, I understand that your CFO, Jenny, who's the most wonderful woman in the world, is saying you need this, this, and this from a perspective
Yep.
of cash flow. I'm also telling you that from my experience in community impact and my community impact framework, that here's the way you do this in a way that it fits in line with your beneficial and ethical use of technology.
Yep.
And
Right.
but
I think that's
also
brilliant.
David gets to pop in and say, that's great, but if we don't make revenue like one of the top priorities, here's what, like, we've got runway till this date. And then you're done. And you got someone saying that to you like a board of director would. And that's
I
the
almost
piece
want
that
to
I
call
need.
this the sounding board of directors, right? Like it actually combines
Woo!
both of those, right? Because that's a lot
Yes.
of what's going on. Dan, I don't know exactly what a narrative nonfiction persona is, but just like I'm not surprised to see that you've got a label for this. We're going to dig into that at some point and learn more about it. I think that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Dan asked about if it's report generating. So he said report generating, I threw that up, but he did follow that up with, um, you know, when you have to engage the in real life version of your board, right? So I think that would be interesting. Like, what reports are you generating for this?
Yeah. So quarterly is the best example of like I am generating actual financial, like business financials, not draft versions. Like they fully expect to be treated like board members there. I think it would be a nice add-on. If I'm understanding Dan right, it's sort of that idea of like, can you then from these simulations generate the reports needed to have the in real life version, which would be relevant to the
I see what
nonprofit
you're saying.
sector, right?
Yes, right. Well, and also the for profit, because you actually have to have meetings
Yes.
with somebody, and often it's yourself. So, like, this would check the box for a lot of those LLC requirements that people don't pay enough attention to, honestly. So,
Yeah, no. And
yeah.
I want to point out a couple things. This is very much made for me. I didn't realize, I've always known there's a higher use case. I just couldn't explain it to people. And so I'm finally at that spot of like, what would this look like to try and help solopreneurs? But then there's a spin here on what we do at the Human Stack for nonprofits, which is how do we use the framework that I've created to encourage donor persona building in a way that is not, it pairs really, really well with what Mallory has done with Practivated, right? Like she's not deep faking donors. She's building
Not at
donor
all.
personas. If you are not in a spot where you are with a Practivated yet, which I would highly suggest, because they kind of do some of this base work for you, what I learned in this process is like absolute key. And I'm happy to dive into it in a future episode a little bit more. But the reason I give you so much context on David is because his profile is about 3 pages long before we get into his framework, right? That's a lot of context. But what I'd rather do is not have to keep adding and building to that. So how do I make sure that David is grounded in what I want him to be grounded in? And so when AI inevitably fills in the miscellaneous details, it has a direction to go with it. And so Malik is my community impact advisor. He grew up in Oklahoma and interned in DC and leads protests and right, like you start to get like those image generations. I didn't give any physical descriptors. I only gave the profiles because I wanted to see, and it gave me some of like David in cowboy boots and a suit, which is such a South Dakota thing. And I was like, this is how I know that I've done this right.
100%. I didn't even think about that as a South Dakota thing because that's a Montana thing as well. I love what Micah says here, which is it would be good to incorporate group memory into this as well, which I'm guessing when you started this, that would have been really challenging. And at this point, like the tech is catching up to this idea really quickly. One other thing I really want people to understand with this is that most technology requires you to change in order to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And so We run into this all the time. People that want change without changing, right? This and Practivated are two of the technologies I've seen where the point of the technology is to change you, right? That's the point of the technology, not to require you to change so that it works. It works so, like, when you are changing, that is that is a very, very new way of engaging. It's one of the reasons Practivated is so unique. And I think this is an application where I see the same thing as well. So I think that is really, really interesting. I mean, I think it's brilliant. I want to see more of what the meetings look like. And then I want to have more people try and do this, which leads to my last two questions. One is, what decisions have you made differently because of this group?
Yeah. The most impact I get from this group is actually from my daily check-ins. They do a good job of like, okay, in a lot of ways, that's almost more like a personal advisor and admin assist of like, Sami, you've got big reports or you've got AI for Anyone Live tomorrow and you don't have those out. I'm telling you right now, that's your hottest flame. And as someone with ADHD, that was like, Sophia was one of the first ones that I built out. Sophia and Yamini is like my execution expert. Sophia's entrepreneur and ADHD coach, right? And that has been the biggest thing. What I'd really like to explore more is actually not in the weeklies, but in the monthlies, where it's like, what is next month going to do for your impact that you want? And Tim, you and I have had a lot of conversations like this, right? Where it's like, I like to dip my toes in a lot of things. I like to say I have a lot of part-time jobs instead of like one big thing. And I love that, but it also can create some lack of continuity in how I show up different ways. And so really leaning into my board of directors to say, okay, how do we want to show up the next month, the next quarter? Like, what do we want to be able to show the board next quarter that this is sort of where the future of the business is going to be sustained because of these actions? And so that's where I'd like to get. I'll admit this has really just been like a hobby project of mine. And so I haven't necessarily taken a ton of like different activities, big scope because of it.
I think that's right. So thank you for that. Second question on that. And by the way, as you say that, I'm thinking about a Claude skill that I wrote that literally builds 5 different Notion databases and the connections between them. So this is now very possible to create that ongoing sequencing of last meeting we did this, now here's what we're working on.
Yeah.
And have that externally to the board, just like minutes would work. So I think that is fascinating, super interesting on what you can do with that. How much time or effort would it take for someone who had a medium amount of exposure to AI to build something like this out? First, how much time on their own without help from you?
If I'm saying they're building one persona, the first persona, I would give them take a good 4 hours, and I mean that. You can get away with 2. Once you get that first one, it probably cuts in half. But you need to spend time with them, and you need to understand their framework. Like you don't need to have the knowledge they have. You need to understand the foundation of where their knowledge is coming from, and if it aligns with your ethical, moral, responsible, beneficial approach to things, right? So David, while he is very much revenue first, he knows that I need creative time. And if I don't do that, that is also inevitably bad for revenue. And so he is grounded in the community that is Sioux Falls and understanding that like, if you are a money hungry for-profit organization, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna succeed here. And so it was important that I had a guy that was constantly reminding me money, 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 but what, and so that's where like you really need that piece.
So if someone was starting the way that you started, this is a 40-hour week. This is a 40-hour project, right? 20, just like 16 hours for 8 of them and 4 hours for one of them is 20 hours. But you architected it all in your mind and then did 20 hours, right?
Yeah.
other people would have to figure that architecture out and then iterate, test, make sure this is working, learn the vibe code. So this would be minimum 40 hours for somebody else.
Yeah.
How much time would it take if you were helping them to just do this because you've already been through it and you could tell, like, give them the steps to take? What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, after the conference, right, I had some people kind of ask, like, what if I wanted my own?
I'm sure you did.
Or what if I wanted yours? I would say anyone watching AI for Anyone Live, if you want the profiles and the frameworks of mine, they're yours. Just tell me you found it here, and I am down to just give you the frameworks as they sit today. I have zero issue with that. What I'm in the middle of adding to this, though, is sort of like a build your own advisor. Think of it like an Opal flow, or like Opal is actually where it probably will live, because then I can use AI and it can output a gem for you. But the goal would be that I've got some tools rather than me needing to spend the time with you, because I could probably make it spend 40 hours anyway, because I'll ask you, like, my mind will start running with you, right? Like all of the things it could do. And so what I want to be able to offer for folks that are asking is, here's sort of like a create your own persona, and it downloads the framework along with instructions of how to use it if you want to just put it into a GPT. Now, if you want like a full bespoke app to your board of advisors, not only am I not there, I'm sure if I get there, I'm going to charge people for it.
I don't think people would mind. Like, okay, a 40-hour app to build is a massive gamble. A full week of your time to not know if you're actually going to use it at the end, that is a lot.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's not just building it, it is also building it in a way that you're going to find value in it at the end, right?
Yes.
And so I think so I'm very intrigued by that. I think this is what the future of advising can look like, where you've got, again, an 80% draft coming from best practices, running Dan's deep research over and over, I'm sure, to create a lot of the background information on it. And then really, I mean, it's just such a great idea. So I'm going to stop saying that, but congratulations. I think that's great. Clearly deserve to win that. Really proud of you for doing that. And all of us are. Yeah. And can't wait for us to have a pun off next week.
So excited. We will also be joined by Julia Campbell, who is hosting the Nonprofit Social Media Summit. I've got some fun ads to show you guys next week for that. So super excited. Next week will be sort of a more informal, fun episode. Like I said, anyone that wants the profile documents or anything, shoot us a message. You can shoot Tim a message or me a message on LinkedIn, or however you get a hold of us, and we'll send that off to you. But thanks for letting me showcase this, Tim, and it's really fun to hear it from my nonprofit community.
I'm so excited.
So I loved being able to like workshop it with you, now that I've gotten a way to like explain it so you understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. I think it's so good. So
lovely.
And clearly everybody else does too, because there are like so many great comments about all of that. So thank you all for joining. As always, it was great to see you. Dan, Megan, Micah, just so excited that you take the time to tune in every week, and we will see you next week.
Yes.
I'll be back in Bozeman and not in Europe, so that'll be fun.
Tim's going down. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.